Okay, so what we are doing today is the working factor. The working factor, remember, is a multiplier that is used to convert recipes from either smaller quantities to larger or larger quantities to smaller. The working factor is a multiplier, so it goes with everybody. It does not have to be in any particular unit of measure. The working factor is simply a multiplier. So, for example, this recipe that we have in front of us, the standardized recipe is for 30 portions, and we're going to have a party that has 200 guests. So the first step when it comes to the working factor is to make sure that we have both of these items in like measurement first. And because portions and guests is basically the same thing, they mean the same thing, we already have like measurement. So new is what we want. So our new would be the 200 guests, and old is what we have. So that's the standardized recipe for 30 portions. And the equation for the working factor is simply new divided by old. The new goes on top, the old goes on the bottom, and we get the working factor. So if I take my 200 guests and I divide them by 30, 200 divided by 30 gives me a 6.666 repeating. I'm going to round at the mill, so my answer is 6.67 as the working factor. For the next problem, this is a mixed measurement. So say, for example, our recipe is for 6 quarts, and we want to make 13 gallons. All right? 6 quarts or 13 gallons. So as I've told you before, the first step is to make everything into like measurement. So we either need to make everything into quarts, everything into gallons, or everything into ounces. So 6 quarts is equal to 1.5 gallons because there's 4 quarts in every gallon. So 6 divided by 4 gives you 1.5. Or 6 times 32 ounces in a quart gives you 192 ounces. For the new yield, we need 13 gallons. So if I have 13 gallons and I want to represent 13 gallons in quarts, that would be 13 times 4. So those 4 quarts in every gallon. 13 times 4 gives me 52 quarts. Or 13 gallons is 13 times 128 ounces in a gallon, which equals 1,664 ounces. So, because we now have both yields in all 3 of the versions that we can possibly have, I will show you that if you take 13 gallons, which is our new, 13 gallons is our new, and you divide it by 1.5 gallons, which is 6 quarts in old, you would get 8.666667. All right. If you had quarts, 52 quarts divided by 6 quarts, you would get 8.666667. And if you took 1,664 ounces and divided it by 192 ounces, you would get 8.666667. Now, I would like to remind you that you're going 3 places to the right of the decimal. This number right here determines if you're going to stay the same or if you're going to add a penny. So because it's a 6, that means I'm going to add a penny. So my working factor is really 8.67 for each of these items. There you go.